Radio V. Radio in TV. Radio in TV.
He's absolutely Jason, he's absolutely gay. He'll absolutely brighten up the darkest rainy day. He's funny and loves movies, he's smart and he's a Jew. He's an actor and an activist and wants to hear from you.
Hey everybody, welcome to Absolutely Jason Stuart. I'm here with my guest today, James Wilder, who I've never met, which is really unusual to have a guest on the show that I don't know or haven't worked with. So this is like I think my first or second time. You have the incredibly wonderful publicist, Lori. I just adore her. She's such a sweet, that's how I found out about you. And I guess the first thing I want to talk about is the reason I really wanted to have you on the show, honestly, is I'm a big, big supporter of indie films.
Awesome.
And you were in this new film. It's called
3 Holes and a Smoking Gun.
And you play
Bobby Blue Day.
Which I love. So tell us about the movie. I mean, I really want to know all about it.
Okay.
And you won Best Actor at the Red Dirt International Film Festival, which is really cool.
Right.
And it's been all over the country.
And just won Best Actor at the New York City Winter Festival.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah, cool. And you got an Independent Spirit Award for this movie.
What was the award?
Actor.
You were nominated?
Artist. Yeah. So it's very cool.
What Best Actor you were nominated for?
Yeah, this is at the Garden State Film Festival. So, and then we got Grand Jury Prize at another, and we won Best Screenplay at the.
So it's really racking
Yeah,
it
we're
up.
just like rolling it.
Now, what was your involvement in the film, and how did it all come down? I'm always interested because people at home are always interested in how these films come to light. It's so hard.
Right.
You know?
No, it is hard. And I got to tell you, I don't know if I should start all the way from the beginning.
Whatever you want. Tell us the fun parts.
Well, yeah, I went to an all-boy parochial school when I was a kid up in San Francisco.
And you came out straight.
Yeah, right. They came out straight.
Which is hard in itself.
It was shocking. And,
especially looking like you, it must have been very difficult.
Well, hey, there's a lot less competition out there for me, so it kind of works great. I deal with overflow. So... the thing is, I decided, I was going, is suits and ties and gray suit and pre-calculus and all kinds of, accelerated learning institution stuff in a totally bohemian artistic city, which seemed like a conflict of interest.
Definitely.
And I went down to the Fisherman's Wharf, and there was people like playing guitar, and I'm like 11 years old, and they're playing "Here Comes the Sun, Here Comes the Sun," and I was like, "Wow, that's."
So
cool.
did you write this film also?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Where I'm kind of going is what got me into independent film here. And so I saw these street artists performing, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I wrote a one-man show at 11 years old, eating fire, juggling,
Show us that
chain
picture
escapes.
of him eating fire that I sent you. It was sent in the second email, so you want to look it up.
Yeah.
The second email that I sent you because Lori had sent it to me.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Eating fire.
Yeah, it was, well, I had to kind
Look
of
at that.
figure.
Oh my
right,
God.
right. That was like a week ago I did that. It's, yeah, pretty wild. And so I did this one-man show, and all of a sudden it was really amazing, captivating an audience. And I was doing a lot of like satire, sort of like political satire, but at 11 years old. So people were kind of entranced.
Is that how Sugar Babies came about for you?
Eventually, yeah. So then I got
That's a
booked.
Broadway show that starred Ann Miller and Mickey Rooney. It was sort of a revival of everything they had done in their careers through vaudeville and through the MGM days of doing all the musicals.
It was awesome. It was really awesome.
What a way to
experience
start
for
in the
me.
business.
Yeah. And so I got booked by this international booking agent to go play in none other than the Moulin Rouge in Paris. And it was just like the movie, except they didn't speak English. So I was like, and I didn't really speak French. So I'm living in Paris at 14 years old by myself.
By yourself?
By myself, yeah. My mother's Parisienne. And so since my mother's Parisienne, I think she felt kind of a safety net. And Europeans are really cool about letting their kids kind of travel to other countries. It's not like the United States where, you put an airbag inside the stroller and put a hockey helmet on your kid because, my God.
It was also a different time.
It was a different time, and also, it's like the whole world wasn't built to be idiot-proof. You know what I mean? So it was a different time.
A softer time, yeah.
Yeah, and it was really cool. So I was performing there, and I was in Vienna, and I learned so much about different cultures and people, and doing cabaret and a one-man show. And when I came back, I was doing correspondence study with my public high school at that time, and going to an accelerated learning institution. Obviously, like I was just, acing all the tests at a public high school, and then I came down to Los Angeles in a custom van I built, and I was
custom van.
Yeah, it was sort of like my show wagon, because I had this show that I got it here. I'm going to show it to you now. The most amazing and amusing, educational and confusing artificial scaffolding ever before witnessed in public. That's right. Don't sound. It was this kind of rap that I did. I wrote that at 11 years old, and so I'd stand on the roof and I'd do this show, and I'd go to the Mardi Gras.
So your parents gave you this incredible amount of self-esteem.
Or the converse.
No, to me, I would think that your parents were probably incredible.
My parents were awesome. So
my mother would usually say to me, "Hey, honey, just come home with a C. That's all I ask."
Right. Yeah.
My father would say things like, "Don't. What are you crying for? Why is your life so terrible? He was in the Holocaust." I said, "Dad, I'm 8."
Right. Exactly. Well, you know what? My parents were totally supportive. My father's like Southern Italian. My mother's Parisian. So that in itself was like eternal volcanic chaos. But they loved each other madly.
So how did this film come to you?
So anyway, this film came to me. I was at the Bar Lounge, Hemingway's, named after the great writer Ernest Hemingway.
Of course.
And I'm just standing there looking at this awesome book motif. All literature was their motif for the lounge. And
Is this in Los Angeles here?
Right here on Hollywood Boulevard, yeah. And somebody taps me on the shoulder. I turn around, and it's this, nebbish kind of, intellectual-looking guy. I said, "Can I help you?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm a writer, and I want to give you this script." And I went, "Okay."
Yeah, because
so I said,
to let people at home know, if you give someone a script, and then if you without going through an agent or a manager or a lawyer, what happens is they're open to of suing you, because they can say that you stole their idea or something like that. So
or it goes home with you and it's a Duraflame.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
or it sits on a shelf
forever. So he taps me on the shoulder. He says, "I'm a writer, and I wanted to give you this script."
And he just happened to have the script with him.
He did, and I said, "And what's the story about?" And he said, "It's a story about a writer." And I said, "So I'm in a bar named after a writer, and a writer is tapping me on the shoulder to give me a script about a writer." I go, "Where's Ashton Kutcher? I know you guys are trying to punk me." And he laughed. He thought that was funny. But it was the real deal. It was like, it really was this odd trifecta. And I took the script home. I read it, and I thought...
What made you read it, though? What made you say yes and read it?
Well, I kind of took a sabbatical from work by my choice, because I felt that my dad had passed. I did Broadway, did a.
So did mine 3 years ago.
Yeah. Oh,
it's a big change.
Oh man, is it a big change?
Yeah, it changes
you kind of feel like, wow, you don't have anything to prove to anybody, and in an odd way, it puts you in this, I don't know, spiritual and physical kind of. Blank space or void space, because I did a Broadway show.
What was the Broadway show?
It was Sugar Babies.
Oh yeah.
And then I had the show Equal Justice, and we won top honors. We won the Emmy as Best 1 Hour Drama on NBC.
That was with Sarah Jessica Parker.
That's right.
We're going to talk all about that.
Okay, so there's like really nowhere better to go than that. And then I did this Miramax movie that was off a book that I played a serial killer, and I met him at Reedsville State Penitentiary. And I kind of did the Broadway, did the Top Honor TV show, and did this Miramax movie. My dad passed. I made money. I started doing artistic, architectural spaces for myself. And I said, I think I should just be here by my mom's side, and try to help her through a tough time, because I'm an only child. She had no living relatives.
I'm a big mama's boy too.
Yeah. So, I don't know, after probably 4 or 5 years, here comes this script. And it was super challenging role, because of like what you're saying. It's an independent film, so all there is writing and acting,
So people probably hear me having a little bit of a coughing attack. There's a little bit of a coughing attack here in Los Angeles. Okay. Oh, thank you, Frank, for doing that. Thank you for getting the camera on me when I'm coughing. So this is really and of course James here is trying to act like it's not happening.
Right.
Because I'm going off to the side when the camera's not off on me. So now I told you everything. So this is really great. So this is
ventriloquism on my part.
Is it?
He wasn't really coughing.
So you started to do this movie. And who else is in the movie with you?
A kid by the name of Zuhair Khan, Joaquin Almeida. And Rudolph Martin.
Rudolph Martin, who I did a movie with called The Stand-In.
Oh, is that right? Oh,
he's
cool.
a wonderful actor.
Great,
and a sweet man.
He's
So
great.
handsome, too.
Yeah,
very handsome guy. Yeah.
Very cool. So, but it's basically very a la True West, Sam Shepard, in just the style that it's two conflicted characters, that their conflict grows out of, a unity, and then they go into complete animosity. And and it gets deadly, So it was very cool. It was a really, really difficult. I knew if I nailed it, this would be something I'd really be proud of. And I knew if I fell on my face.
Who was the director?
Hilarion Banks, and he was great. He kind of worked in a sort of an a la Cassavetes style.
I love that.
Yeah, it's so cool. Especially in independent film, this is where you get that.
I just did a film with Sean Baker, Tangerine, that was totally on an i5.
Wow. Wow.
3 different i5 with this separate other camera lens that was put on it. And
unbelievable.
It was just so much fun. All that kind of stuff.
So amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, and you and I know when you come to a set, the difference between a 16 and a 35 millimeter camera, like people's interest in the film somehow is like having a bigger gun in your face. It's still a gun, but
it's odd, but it didn't matter. The film is brilliant, and I think that's
no. I mean, but for back in the day.
Oh yeah,
back in the day, a small camera meant small budget, bad film, bad movie, bad camera. Now, on like you're saying, an iPhone 5, you can make a film.
This
it's
DP
incredible.
was absolutely incredible. I would love to see this film. And is there any chance of it coming out, or where's it going?
Yeah, we got a theatrical release.
Through what company?
We ITN, the distributor.
Wonderful.
Yes, ITN, the distributor.
So when will it come out?
Thank you, Stu. It's coming out March 27th at my favorite place.
The Sundance?
No, right here in Beverly Hills at the
Laemmle?
at the
Music Hall.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to be awesome.
How exciting.
And it's going to release in New York and a bunch of landmarks. It's going to play in my hometown up there in the Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland, and whatnot at the landmarks.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's really kind of cool.
Well, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back.
Right.
And I want to talk about Sugar Babies because I think this is really sort of, to get to work with Ann Miller and Mickey Rooney, who just passed in last year, is sort of, must have been an extraordinary experience for an 11-year-old boy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, at that time, I think I was closer to 20.
Oh, you were 20?
So, yeah, went to Moulin Rouge.
Oh, so it all had...
It came... started at 11 years old, yeah.
So we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with James Wilder here on Absolutely Jason Stewart. Please stay with us.
But I looked 11 at 20.
Seriously?
Oh,
no, God. Okay. Thank you for helping me out with that.
Hey, what's up? It's Tone Loc in the house, and you're tuned into T Radio V.
Andy D on T Radio V. Bing, bang, bing, boom, right?
Yeah.
Andy D on T Radio V. Bobbity, bibbity, bobbity, boo. Andy D on T Radio V.
The Andy Dick Show, Wednesdays from 4 to 6 p.m. on T Radio V.
Wow!
So
But
Paul,
we'll do it better when the show actually starts.
What it do is your man Money B from Digital Underground asking everybody to check out the Going Way Back show, your home for classic hip hop, raw and uncut. Join me
and me, DJ Always,
as well as Ty Teasy, bringing you the old school new news every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here
on T Radio V.
That's right, Radio NTV.
I'm Zoe Williams.
And I'm Dr. Mark Goulston. I'm Jeff Brown.
And we make up the Zoe What Morning Show. You can find us here on TRadioV.com every Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I make you think.
He makes you laugh, and if I get a chance, I'll help you change.
Or make you cry with his attempts at humor.
Radio NTV.
Can you relate? We'll make it happen.
Look at you. What you doing?
Were you mumbling to yourself?
Hey, back there mumbling.
To them. To them.
What's up, y'all? It's Edie Don.
And I'm Diva Pink.
And we are the hosts of the Real Talk Show that airs every Tuesday.
You so serious?
Real life, real topics, real subjects.
Shop Talk, Diva Pink. Yes.
Real people.
Taking over.
Your homie Don Juan providing the vibes.
Oh, yeah, he does every week.
Oh, man, we need y'all to tune in every Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 7. T Radio V. Radio and TV.
It is radio.
Radio and TV.
You're crazy.
Let's do another one.
T Radio V. Radio in TV. Radio in TV.
Hey, we're back at Absolutely Jason Stuart with my guest James Wilder, who's in the award-winning film, and I'm looking at it called Three Holes in a Smoking Gun. And you just recently screened the film at SAG Foundation, which is the Screen Actors Guild Foundation, and you were interviewed by The Hollywood Reporter, which was really cool. And somebody asked you an interesting question. You were just telling me during the break that you didn't want to sound too, but it was sort of a cool actor question. Go ahead, say it.
Yeah, well, it was just, first of all,
because I know you're a sweet guy, so and everybody, you can feel it, so don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
But this is sort of neat because when you're, for those at home, when you're an actor, and, we go in ebbs and flows in our careers.
Right,
There's times when
sure.
you're young and you're hot, and times that people think, what's going on? And the times that you have to turn down things because you don't want it to be, you don't want to, change your career, or the times of things you just don't want to do.
Right.
And the roles aren't around, or the times there are too many things around and you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And everything happens at once, and you have to turn down something, and you make the wrong mistake, and you turn down the thing that you think is going to be, and you do the thing, and then all of a sudden you're going, oh my God.
It's like the French say. They go, une banane pour un mille songes, which basically means it's about actors. One banana for 1,000 monkeys.
Exactly.
You're
trying to get the toothpaste out of that little teeny hole.
Right.
So what happened? What was the question?
Well, it was really cool that SAG Foundation contacted me and said, "Hey, we want to do conversations with James Wilder about your movie," and I was like so complimented, and so they screened the movie there, and what happens is if people don't show or don't reserve, and it's only open to SAG members, you have to show your SAG card.
So they're all actors.
Pretty much, and if they don't reserve, they cancel it. So here it is, they said, hey, we want to do this with you, and then one day before it gets canceled, it's like, that so sucks. You wish you were never even asked. But it was packed. It was packed. It was like standing room only. I was like, I couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable. It was really cool. And I'm watching the film with my fellow constituents as actors and thinking, wow, this is a really discerning eye, obviously. But people seem to really dig it. And the Hollywood Reporter editor, opened up, said, your performance very much reminded me of, do you know who? And I said, no, not really. I think I'm too subjectively involved to make that, association. He goes, Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver. Now, I was thinking, is this guy comparing my performance to, De Niro and Taxi Driver? I mean, give me a break. And so it felt like a loaded question because I don't know Travis Bickle per se. And I didn't want to say, do you mean De Niro and Taxi Driver? And then he says, no. It was the guy that sold De Niro the gun. He played the small part on the left. So I just left it alone, And I went, hey, I don't know what to say other than thanks, because
there was a movie done about another character that Al Pacino played in Dog Day Afternoon. His character, the guy who played it, there was actually a documentary done about what happened to that guy in his life, the character, not the actual guy. Right. Yeah, it is interesting to see that, the idea that you can make one little teeny thing, you can make the biggest mistake.
Right,
and just jump right in it. Let's talk about Sugar Babies.
Okay,
I mean,
cool.
My God, so you're 20 years old.
Right.
And you got to work with Mickey Rooney.
And Ann Miller.
And Ann Miller. Now, for those at home who don't know, Mickey Rooney was one of the biggest stars in the world.
Of all time.
In the 30s and 40s.
Like a Charlie Chaplin of
Yes, he was
America.
a movie star. And I guess if it would have been now, it probably would have been like Zac Efron in High School Musical, because he did all these musicals. I guess what was it? The Judy Garland and him.
Right.
Did these. What were the characters' names?
Oh
I forgot
my
the
God.
name.
I mean, so many.
He
And
did these musicals about these two people who kept doing shows all the time in the yard, and then from that he had incredibly long career. I think one of the first things he did was playing Puck in Midnight's Shakespeare. Midnight. You know what?
Yes, Midsummer Night's Dream.
Midsummer Night's Dream.
I think
Thank
he
you.
was 5 years old.
He was
in
like,
that.
so young, and
like a cherub angel.
Exactly. Oh,
Yeah.
you know about
Yeah,
this?
I did. I see it.
And
It's
then he
unbelievable.
also, through the 50s, he had his own show, and then the 60s, he was in all these comedies. In the 70s and 80s, he made a big comeback in dramatic things, doing Bill on TV, and also getting an Oscar nomination for The Black Stallion. I mean, he's had what a resilient, incredible career.
Unbelievable.
He was one of the last people, and he was in Breakfast at Tiffany's playing the Asian
Yeah,
character.
that's right.
He was one of the
Asian.
last people to allow to do something racist in a film.
Right.
But before we stopped doing that.
Exactly, like Marlon Brando with Nosotros stepped in when he did Viva Zapata.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that those things started happening. He was this man, and he just passed away last year.
Yeah.
And I actually got to meet him at an award show for 2 seconds with his wife. Sally Kirkland is an old friend of mine, and she was presenting an award, and I went with her too.
Sally, by the way, was my first acting teacher.
Of course she was.
Right.
Yeah, you're
Crazy Sally.
No, you're
She's
a
awesome.
good-looking man. Of course you're going to be in her class. And there's no way that's not going to happen in this town.
Right.
She's been on the show too.
She's awesome.
And this guy's had an incredible career. So you got to meet him at 20, and you probably didn't know so much about him, I'm guessing.
Before you
going
I
in.
did. I mean,
so what was he like?
Oh, he was just like a mile a minute. He had so much energy. I mean, people tell me I have energy. He had just endless energy, and he was buying land grants on the phone when the government was selling off like large parcels in Wyoming for some sort of like tax credit land grant. Okay, I want you to buy. What do we got? We have 1,000 acres in Wyoming.
And this is
I'll
before
take it.
cell phones, so he was somewhere attached to a phone on a wall, right?
Unbelievable. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, that would make sense. I can't even imagine. Trying to imagine prior to cell phones, but I guess you're absolutely correct. It was unbelievable, and he was just, he was very short, so he was grabbing all the dancer girls, which are gorgeous and tall. He's grabbing them all. Hey, do you want to be my 11th wife? Come on. And he just was constantly on.
Was he married 10 times?
No, maybe 7 times. I don't know. But he was
incredible.
Incredible, and he was really funny, extremely talented.
He was married to Ava Gardner, I think, once.
Really?
I think so, yeah. I think that was one of his wives. Frank,
that's-
look that up if you can. See if Mickey Rooney was married to Ava Gardner. That would be so
That
fun.
would be insane.
I think it's really true. I know that Ava Gardner was married to Artie Shaw once, which
Wow.
Judy Garland and Lana Turner were all married to, I think.
Jeez.
I mean, it was almost like there was a revolving door at the
Yeah.
MGM school. And
Wow.
you're free, I'm free. Okay, let's get married.
Let's get married.
I mean, it was so crazy.
It's like the Brangeline deal. The sum is greater than the total of the parts.
Exactly.
So 2 stars together or bigger than 2 stars. 2 plus 2 equals 4.
Maybe the studios did that when we don't even
Yeah,
know that.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's part of their algorithm.
I guess so. And he's one of these people, an average-looking guy. I mean,
Right,
I don't
right.
think now he'd have the same career. It wouldn't happen, in these days because they're so looks-oriented about everything. But just so incredibly, Emmys.
Life force, huge life force, and just great
You learned
timing.
a lot from him, I'm guessing.
Well, what was amazing is I got this incredible review that was unbelievable for me. And I thought, oh, wow, because I've had things where that's gone the wrong way. And he could care less. He was like, hey, kid, don't ever, let me tell you one thing. Awesome. Hey, I applaud you. Don't ever read your reviews. It'll only
Make
fuck
you
with your
crazy.
head. So I was like, oh, wow, that was great. And he's absolutely right because, great reviews you forget. The bad review, you always remember.
He wasn't married to Ava Gardner. Was he married to anybody famous? Because it'll be on the trivia of IMDb. I would have thought he'd married Judy Garland, but he didn't.
Yeah,
I wonder
maybe.
whether they had an affair,
Yeah, that's very, very, very likely.
Yeah.
But is
Ann Miller, crazy as a loon, right?
yeah,
She had names for her shoes, her dancing shoes, I heard.
Right. I mean, real, complete diametrical opposition between Mickey Rooney and Ann Miller. One tall female brunette, and him one short firecracker blonde guy.
She was all business.
She was all
That's what I heard.
business, and he was all play. And it just kind of came across in the performance like she was really, kind of serious. But she had that as the French say, the je ne sais quoi, which means I don't know what, about her performance, where she would bring some levity into the situation. And he was just a fire plug that, like, you better be ready for anything because it's going to come
And she
up.
had that giant
if he
wig
feels like
with the
doing
hook
it.
on the side of her head.
Right.
And that's where she
right.
hung her coat. That's
Yeah,
what I heard.
exactly.
And she, you know what one of the last movies she did was? Mulholland Drive.
Is that right?
Isn't it interesting that
Wow.
all these really creative types will, use all these great stars,
Wow.
but yet, a lot of the people who just do all the mainstream stuff will not. People
Yeah.
who are just, and yet the mainstream people watch mainstream television, and the rest of us, who
it's funny.
It's the opposite.
It's funny. It's like the Kane theory. You never know where fame comes from, and those guys grew up on that particular datum, so they feel you got to keep working and working and working. And plus, the pay salary was so small. That's what he was telling me all the time. He goes, "Do you know what I used to make, kid? Do you know what I used to make?
Oh,
I mean,
crazy.
they cranked this out like we were factory workers."
And there was no taxes.
And he goes, "But no, he was saying he didn't make anything.
Oh.
He made very little." That Judy, and he was always referring to him and Judy. "Do you know we were on a contract? We had to make, whatever it was, like 3 movies a month, and
3 movies every 20 minutes.
3 movies a month, and we got like $2,000. He said it was nothing. It's unbelievable what these actors make today."
Oh
Yeah,
my
it was really,
God.
really interesting.
I got to tell you, I was reading your bio. I was sort of impressed because one of your first movies was a movie called Crack Up on TV. Oh, look, these are he was married to Ava Gardner.
Whoa. Wow.
I knew I was right.
You were right.
Oh my
wow,
God!
Look at that list of.
He married Ava. So I was
wives.
right. You're shaking your head
Jesus.
no. I have
42 to 43, then divorce. 44 to 48, then divorce. 49 to 51, then divorce. 52 to 58. I mean, he did. Oh, in 58, he didn't even waste a year there. He just went from 58 to 58. Man, 66. He was never. Oh, finally in 1968
Jan
he
Chamberlain.
wasn't married.
Huh? Oh, right. He's
Yeah,
75.
he took 1 year off.
He took-
Out of his
no,
1, 2, 3, 4,
He took
5,
3
6,
years off.
7, 8 wives.
What year were you doing Sugar Babies with him? Was he single then?
He acted single.
So he must have known him between 75 and.
That's right. Yeah, that would be right.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Isn't that
Wow.
Frank, that's really great. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't know him at 75.
Well, we're going to take a break and we're going to
Okay,
come
you
back.
got
We're
it.
going to talk about
Cool
Ed
deal.
Asner and Cracked Up.
All right.
Because that was sort of extraordinary.
That
we'll be
was.
back in just
Thank
a
you.
second here on Absolutely Jason Stewart with James Wilder.
Perfect.
Hi, I'm Sheriff John Bonnell. You're watching T Radio. Radio and TV? What? Why are you asking me to do this after 12 drinks?
Join Dave Navarro and friends for Dark Matter, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on T Radio V.
Hey, Dave Navarro here, Dark Matter Radio, TRadioV.com.
The universe is vast, enormous, huge, full of stars, planets, and matter. Some of the matter is so dense that not even light escapes.
Get on the mic, get on the mic, get on the mic, get on the mic, Frank.
Pardon me, sir. Pardon my reach.
Seeing you guys were worried. I think this is going great.
Pardon my reach.
Get the away from me, dude.
You are really beautiful.
Thanks, you guys.
He's one of the most beautiful people I've ever known.
This is pretty much every week. He brings in a guest that tells him how beautiful he is.
Pardon my reach? If you have to reach over me, then don't do it.
He is the straightest gay guy I know.
Dave Navarro signing off. Dark Matter. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Dark Matter with Dave Navarro, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on T Radio V.
Yo, what's up? This your boy Kyle Master, and you're checking out T Radio V.
T Radio V.
T Radio V.
Hello, T Radio V. Love you guys.
Radio in TV.
Radio in TV.
motion and grew legs and they started walking and the apes climbed down from the
Radio V. Radio in TV. Radio in TV.
And we're back. Absolutely Jason Stewart with my guest, James Wilder, who's becoming my best friend. We're moving in together. Platonically, everyone, just platonically. But you are incredibly handsome. You're just like staring at me, and I feel like I'm naked. And I feel like I'm overweight. Okay, you're just... God. So I want to talk about one of your first movies that you get to do, which is a little different. My movie was the Lost Emperor. Not the one that the Bertolucci film,
Right.
the shitty one with Jim Wynorski,
Oh,
where
that's too
my
bad.
one line was, "Give me back my purse." I was gay dude number one, and you're in the movie Cracked Up, where you're the lead,
Played straight drug addict.
Right,
addict. You know.
and with Ed Asner, who was nominated for the Emmy or won the Emmy for it.
I believe so.
Yeah, and Ed Asner, I mean, right at the
Legendary.
at the pinnacle of his career. Now,
Right,
what was he
right.
like to work with?
Oh man, he was awesome. It was very much like this scene for me that was this introduction scene for the film, like the first day up. I always like it when we start the film with like a scene that's going to get the crew to be on your side. It's not bridging scene. It's like a real pivotal scene in the movie. So the crew goes, "Wow, hey, that was good. We're excited. You know, we're happy to be part of this project." And this scene was very much like, you know, James Dean's East of Eden scene with his father.
Mhm.
You know, very strong anchor father that's very set in his ways. And,
How did you
know,
get that part? How did it come about?
Everybody wanted this part. This was the part of it was the first time that crack was going to be addressed, you know what I mean, as a part, and it was a track athlete that gets hooked on crack and then eventually dies from it.
Oh, wow.
So it was a killer role, and it was like the McLeans, who were always were Dennis Hopper, that group. You know, it was a fantastic group, fantastic project. Casting directors.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? There's some casting directors you kind of go, wow, and they were really quality casting directors. And I'm not saying quality because they cast me. I'm just saying that when you read certain groups or attached to certain projects, you just knew it was going to really be good.
Wow.
And so with Ed Asner there, this scene, you know, there was really kind of he's very professional, and I try to behave that way too. And
He was a real Politico at that time, too.
Very much so. So he was the perfect.
Was he the president of Screen Actors Guild at that time?
I don't know if he
But
was,
it was around
at that time. Right, but in
yeah.
the Contras, and he's
He
very controversial.
He risked everything.
He really, really did, and he had
What a way to live your life. And this guy.
which I thought was great. What a great father to try to bridge. Like, hey, man, you know what I mean? I'm your son. Do you care? And he played a priest in it.
Wow.
So he was this.
So
you
what
know,
happened after the movie? What was the ripple or the big wave in your career? What happened?
I think that is when it took me to Equal Justice,
Which starred Sarah Jessica Parker.
Right,
Now, I
right.
met her
Yeah.
when I was in a group called Young Artists United with my best pal, Alexandra Paul. People know her from Baywatch and every movie in the 70s and 80s,
Right.
Paper Dolls and Dragnet and 8 Million Ways to Die and everything. And she, we were all in this group, and I remember I met Sarah, and I used to hang out with Sarah and her and Robert Downey Jr. when they were living together in that pink house up in the hills near the Comedy Store. And she was really cool. I mean, I just adored her. She was great sense of humor. What was it like to work with her?
It was, geez, you know,
So
I'd be
long ago.
lying if I say I remember. It wasn't, the film to me wasn't one of those films that I felt like
The
this
TV
is.
Equal Justice.
Oh, Equal Justice,
Yeah.
sorry. Oh, yeah, no, that was great. Sorry, I thought you were talking about another project. It was really great. I mean, it was Thomas Carter. It was his show.
It was only one season, am I correct?
I think it was two
seasons. It
seasons.
was such a big show because I remember there's a big hubbub of how could this show get canceled?
Because Orion went under. And that's who was doing it. So we won
'Cause it was so
every award
popular.
you could possibly
Yeah, it was
win.
so popular.
And then it goes under. And the cast was sort of like a movie cast. You had Cotter Smith, Joe Morton,
Cotter Smith was in
Barry Miller,
Field of Dreams.
Yeah,
Barry was in Fame.
He won the Tony for the Neil Simon play. I mean, it was just like awesome cast.
Biloxi Blues.
And the whole thing. George DiCenza. It was just great cast, great writing, great everything. And then
But that shows you in this business there's so many weird reasons. Like, so a hit show with all these incredible people,
Right.
and you're in this show, and all of a sudden it gets canceled
It's off the air. Boom.
because of Orion going under.
But it's also that it shows you that like critical review and being the darling. Like let's just say Birdman. Versus American Sniper, both great films, both completely.
I have to say,
diametrically
we could
opposed. talk
about that. I think Sniper is a good movie, but way too violent. I mean, we didn't need to see that many scenes about that.
So my point is, and case in point, is one made 1/3 of $1 billion, and the other one, which won Best Picture, by the way, is made $30 million.
Yeah.
So it's all about cha-ching, cha-ching. I mean, the movie's got it. It can get all kinds of gold and all kinds of awards and on and on and on and critical raves. But if it doesn't make a lot of money, it's a business. This is a business.
But now that show probably would be, what the ratings were on that show would probably be so much, it would be a complete big hit now. I mean,
you mean Equal Justice?
Oh, yeah.
It could be. I mean, I think everybody that watched it were people that like really were interested in really kind of like good quality television, but we didn't have a large audience base, to my knowledge. I don't know. You know what I mean? It wasn't.
But
it
now,
wasn't a runaway
now
hit.
it would be an incredibly large audience.
Probably, yeah.
With an incredibly large.
Right.
Because the ratings now are so much lower than they were years ago.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, sure, there was only 3 networks. I mean, to do NBC primetime, there was no better. That's like working with Scorsese and DiCaprio. It was no better area to get slotted into.
And then from then you went on to do Melrose Place. Were you on Melrose Place the year, I guess, my friend Alexandra was? Were you on the year when Alexandra was on, when she played the sister who was sort of crazy?
I wasn't really on Melrose Place. What happened was the secret, quiet producer of Cracked Up that kept his name off of it was, believe it or not, Aaron Spelling. Cracked Up was the project with...
he did a lot of really great TV
He did
movies.
some great TV, and he gave me this hug at the Directors Guild when it aired. He goes, "I want to thank you for giving me my first video cassette and my library of quality." And I went, "Oh,
Video
man,
cassette.
that video cassette, yeah, because that went back because that's what people had at that time." And that was so cool. And then he called me at one point in time after Melrose Place had been on, and he was a gambler, and he was like, he had just $10,000 chips, and I go, "What are you doing?" "Hey, I'm in Vegas. I want you to do me a favor." And so he said, "I want to change the face of Melrose Place. I want to try to get other people interested like yourself and to come on the show." And I was like, "Oh man," I said, I appreciate that offer so much. I go, "I don't want to do Melrose Place. I don't want to really get kind of branded in that area," because at that time you had to be careful about what you did. What you did was how people see you.
It still is in some way.
So he said, "What's your favorite movie?" And I said, that was sort of like a left field question. I said, "Dead Calm." He goes, "With Billy Zane?" I said, "Yeah." I go, "What a great movie
Nicole
that
Kidman?
was."
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman, Billy. He goes, "I'll tell you what, I'm going to write 6 episodes, Dead Calm. It'll be the Melrose Place. You'll be able to stray from the dialogue if you want, and if you need to, please be cool about that." And he said, and you read it, and I'm going to get that 66-foot Hatteras. We're going to shoot this thing. It's going to be dead calm, basically, because you love that movie, and I want to get you on.
This is crazy.
It was
the biggest guy in television.
Crazy. And I was just like, how do you say, no? I mean, it was like, oh, sure, really? I mean, seriously? I was like, again, it was pre-Ashton Kutcher. Is Ashton Kutcher on the phone here? Am I being punked? And, but it wasn't. And he did it, and we did it, and it was like, it was an awesome experience.
So it was
really,
like these weird
really,
scenes that didn't belong in Melrose Place.
Yeah, it was really cool. We were on this boat in the Santa Monica Bay covering this really cool story about a drug dealer, and the last thing I did for him, I played a drug addict. So it's like, well, I think I'm moving up. And it was really great.
So you also got to work with Faye Dunaway.
Yes.
And James
Wow.
Earl Jones in
Yeah.
Scorched. I worked with
Wow.
Faye Dunaway in a film called A Ghost Never Sleep.
Wow.
Well, I had a great experience with her.
Right.
And everybody has things to say. She has a reputation. But
Yeah.
I got to tell you, she cared about the work.
She cares about the work so much so
Yeah.
that I was hearing from everybody that her issue is nobody on the crew can wear white. And the reason is it distracts her eye.
She said the same thing. We were doing a scene, and she played this woman whose son had murdered her husband.
Right.
And I was a talk show host interviewing her, and she played this scene, and there was a guy standing off, like all the way, like in the corner. She said, "You need to move. You're in my eye line."
Right.
And that's, and I understand what
I totally understand. I
People
mean,
don't get that.
they
but
don't get it because-
sometimes, and the thing is, there are days that I'm not a good enough actor to
Right.
stop all the chatter
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
And she had to cry and fall apart in the
Oh
scene.
man, I mean, she's so
So she
personal and so
understood.
moment to moment in her
Yeah.
acting, and she's
she
trying
brought
to
me
build.
up. She pulled me up.
Yeah.
Did you feel
Oh,
that with her?
I totally.
What
I
did
mean,
you
she-
play in the film with her?
Well, I was. The story was based around me and
Scorched.
and oh my God, Emily Lloyd.
Oh,
Emily
my
Lloyd,
God.
Up Your Bum. I think she was nominated for Academy Award that
No,
year.
I don't know if she was
or-
nominated. So big.
For the film, so
She
big.
was the it girl.
Yeah, she was the Clara Bow. She was the it girl.
Clara
and so it was
Bow.
like.
I
yeah.
just said that yesterday to someone.
Did you
To a
really?
young girl, and she didn't know what I was talking about.
Wow, that's funny. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
And James Earl Jones was also in the movie?
James Earl Jones, Denham
Yeah.
Elliott, Emily Lloyd, Meg Tilly.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Jennifer Tilly.
Jennifer's an
Tilly.
old showbiz friend. We used to sit
Wow.
around together and wait for equity calls, open calls,
I mean, all great actors and actresses. It was
Jennifer's
unbelievable.
so
And I
good.
was like, wow, this is so cool. And this was originally adapted, and you know this, I'm sure, from either one of the lists of the 10 best yet unproduced films or plays that should transcend into films. And this was at the White Fire Theater, and it had been playing there, and everybody wanted to do this as a movie. And we did, and we went down to Louisiana. It was about Cajuns. Everybody, because those kind of actors and myself were all working on their Cajun accents. And then
Can you still do it? We'll take a second. We're going to come back. I
Okay.
don't want to put you on the spot. We'll come back. We're going to take a break here on Absolutely Jason Stewart. We'll be back just a second with James Wilder, and we're going to see whether we can do a Cajun accent.
Uh-oh.
Please stay with us.
Hey, hello, this is David Faustino, and you are watching T Radio V. Do you see what I'm saying? It's television crossed with radio. It's all together. It's weird. Radio's in the middle of it. It's amazing. You're watching it. Go.
Love and marriage, love and marriage.
This is Quick Fix Radio. Quick Fix Radio. Yeah. Check it out, y'all. We back in the building. What's going on?
Yes, sir. What it do? We got some super special guests up in the place,
In
man.
the building, we got all 5 live in the building. Bone Thugs in the building. Everybody.
we up in here
Tonight, y'all. What's going on?
Hey man, I had to come see what this TV radio what this all about. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
We got Game on the line. Game, what's going down, baby?
What up? What up, man?
What's going on? Oh man, we got EPO
Double G.
Who's this on the phone with us?
Yo, what up, man? It's Akon.
Hey, Count in the building. Line. Who is this on the line?
Be real.
We got Be Real. Rizzy. What else we got on the line?
This is Ty Dolla $ign right here.
What up, Ty Dolla $ign in the building. And thanks to all the fans for stopping by.
The Quick Fix with Crazy Bone, right here on T Radio V.
If the fish swam out of the ocean and grew legs and they started walking, and the apes climbed down from the
Hey geeks, wake up! We got big news. I'm not gonna mumble this time. Geekscape, the long-running movie, video game. Let me do one more. Hey geeks, we got big news! Geekscape, your favorite show about movies, video games, comics, and TV, is coming to T Radio V Monday, October 6th. And it'll be on every Monday from then on, 7 p.m. Until the apocalypse happens, we're all eaten by zombies.
T Radio V. Radio in TV. Radio in TV.
Hey, we're back at Absolutely Jason Stewart with my guest James Wilder, and we're talking about his incredible career, his new film coming out that's going to be at the Landmark Theater here in Los Angeles called Three Holes in a Smoking Gun, and it'll also play in New York and selected cities across the country. And I hope you invite me. Is there going to be a premiere?
I presume there would be.
Well, I better be invited.
Yeah,
That's all I have to say.
for sure.
Because I really want to see it, and I like to come on premiere night. That's sort of the fun night to come because there's that sort of cool energy.
Definitely.
I was there for a couple films recently that premiered there. They've been doing that a lot.
Did you see Rabbit? White Rabbit?
Oh, I love White Rabbit.
Wow, that was great. That was
Loved
great.
it.
That was at the music.
Yes, it's a great. They've changed that theater. It's really what the Sunset 5 used to be.
Right,
Because now the Sunset 5 here in Los Angeles is the Sundance.
Right.
So they're getting all the Sundance films, and they don't have any premieres there like they do. They used to. I guess they used to have films. So you've had what an eclectic career because you also did Models Inc. Who was in Models Inc.? That was a big, gorgeous girl star.
Yeah, and she went huge. I can't remember the name of that actress.
So you've done everything from all these shows. You've guested on everything, and you've done all this stuff. And we were talking before about where you come from and how that plays out. I know in my life. Just 3 years ago, my dad passed, as I said before, and the idea of what happens to a person when you're rock or the person who you feel like that you have the backup with, and then everybody in your family sort of shifts a seat at the table.
Yeah,
and that's what I feel, and everybody sort of moves their chair.
Yeah.
Because in my family, my dad is the one who everybody danced around.
Right.
Was your dad like that too?
Well, it was a little bit of a different situation only because my mom and dad met when neither one could speak the same language as the other. And,
how romantic.
Yeah, and they met in Paris.
It's like a movie, and they still...
I mean, it really was. And my dad was like this, he was born in Cleveland, and he's, Southern Italian, badass guy, and, you know what I mean, motorcycles and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, really?
And my mom looked like a Brigitte Bardot in Paris, and,
My father looked like this and looked like Danny Kaye, and my mother looked like Stella Stevens in The Side Adventure.
Wow. Yeah, so they never got along, and I was the only child.
They never got along?
Never got along.
Well,
for moments they would get along.
Did they get
but they loved each other insanely. It was really like, and your audiences may or may not know this, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Oh, yeah,
I mean, it was the Elizabeth Taylor, Richard Burton relationship. That they just loved each other so much they couldn't be.
So really, let's be real honest. It's a sexual thing. It's like when
for sure.
There's a sort of passion, and they're not really friends, but they just love each. They're so in love, and there's so much passion between them.
I go out with girls that look just like the Eastern European girls with that accent, and they're just it's a pure physical thing with the broken winged bird that I just want to help and get off the ground and the whole thing, but they're completely capable. I mean, they probably have better survival skills.
So you're
than
single
I
now?
do. I have a girlfriend right now.
Okay. Is she one of these girls?
Absolutely. If you looked at my mom's picture when she was young and this girl's picture, you could say, hey, let me borrow your fake ID.
Oh, my God.
Honest to God, it's so funny. And it's,
Which would say she's like, how old?
Right. Right. Yeah, younger than me. So yeah, that's a trip. But
So from this movie, what's next? Do you feel like things are starting to rock and roll and move around for you, or do you feel like there's something happening?
Yeah, I mean, it's so exciting as far as accolades and Best Actor awards and those things that all come rolling in. It's incredible, and I feel it's
So
so
you got a
strange.
stack of cards, I'm thinking, from all these things, from all
Yeah,
these people.
yeah, and
You should talk to
know,
Sally, because Sally knows
Right.
all about this.
I
She
guess
had the
she
same thing
does,
happening to her
actually.
with Anna.
Right.
You know, it's the same thing when
Yeah,
she was
that's right.
nominated for that.
That's
now, when
right.
was it? So this film was released. So
March 27th.
So will there be a Best Actor campaign for this for Oscar?
Oh gosh, that's like I have no idea. I have no idea. I mean, I wouldn't think this would have the legs that it's had.
So you just
that
never
right
know.
now. So I'm sort of shocked. I'm very happy with everything that's going on right now, and a little bit of overwhelm, and it's really cool. I think you and I were talking about both losing our dads. You know what I mean? And that shift and the paradigm. Where it sounded like you were saying at the dinner table, the chair shifted. For me, the dinner table, there was no dinner table. We were all very independent and each went our own ways. And so whenever the three of us were together, being so independent, it got explosive. So I would spend time with my mom. I would spend time with my dad. When my dad passed, it was on Christmas.
Oh man!
So it was like. Oh wow!
Were they married at the time?
No, they were always married. They were always married, but not necessarily getting along.
Oh, so they lived together the whole
Always
time?
married. No, they didn't live together the whole time.
Oh.
They lived together just part of the time, but they always stayed married, which was, it was kind of that respect thing. It was kind of cool. It's like we have a kid, we don't want.
Yeah, but you're pretty much grown up now.
Yeah, I mean they
8 years ago, so
they'd passed the curve, sure, but they just stayed. I think that's what held them together. That was the glue that held them together while I was growing up. Say let's not do.
Did they want you to be in show business?
I don't think anybody. I never really had any rules and regulations of what to do.
Funny because mine said to me, no. Get a job. Why don't you be a psychiatrist on the side?
Wow.
On the side. And I said, Dad, yeah, I can be in I said, I'm sorry, I can't, help you right now. I have to go to an audition. But I'm crying.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
My mom just wanted me to be happy, and my dad just wanted me to make a living. And I said, hey, let me do a hybrid of those two things. Let me be happy and make a living. What's going to make me happy making a living? Hey, entertainment. I dig it. It's like fun. It's challenging. It's hard work. But it's cool when.
Well, I wish you the best with this film.
I appreciate it.
And let me know if I can do anything to be of support.
All right.
I really would love to do that.
Thanks, man.
I do. So thank you for being on the show. Where can people get a hold of you if they want to? Do you have a website?
Yeah, I do actually. I just started to enter that world. I guess it's Facebook, James Wilder pages, or James Wilder actor, or James Wilder Facebook.
So James Wilder actor would be your website.
Oh, I don't even have a website yet.
Yeah.
I'm building a website. But I'm just
okay.
saying Facebook is kind of like the website, but the website's coming. And
Okay, so if
probably about a
anybody
week.
needs to get a hold of him, just go to jasonstewart.com, Stuart, and I will get a hold of him. Everybody remember to go watch my new web series, Mentor. Just click on Mentor. It's about mentoring people. And it's a great little comedy drama. It's nominated for 3 Indie Series Awards.
Wow.
Thank you so
That's
much for
awesome.
being on the show.
Congratulations. Thank you.
I so appreciate it. I look forward to seeing what happens with the movie. Maybe next year coming back with an Oscar nomination.
Wow.
Take care, everybody. Till next week.
You are watching T Radio V. Radio and TV.